To sit down and speak with John and Amanda Milius, who are together the producer and the director of a phenomenal film called The Plot Against the President. And we discussed what it's like to bring the uncomfortable truth to light, as well as what it means for this country that you can use the facts to win in the court of public opinion, but you can't use them to win in the court of law. Check it out.
Basic level, I don't like the term deep state that much at this point. I prefer security state, and I think this movie actually it documents, one of the few times the security state was actually openly investigated. So, and we have the investigators on tape. So that's sort of what we documented.
Yeah. So let's dive into it a little bit, because it's been so many years now. It's almost, with so many things happening in the news cycle so fast, it's easy to forget that for the first 2.5 years, President Trump had that over his head, right? This whole Russia collusion thing, right? Oh, yeah. However, when you dug into it, I mean, what was it? What was the premise of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation?
Well, I mean, not only was he under that, the entire country was under this myth that the president and his team had anything to do with Russia. And the fact that all of the people that claimed that ran Crossfire Hurricane were brought in and under oath admitted, all 65 people admitted that they had no evidence. And my argument is, this movie was important to be out there and to correct the record, because frankly, every single news station should have opened their show every night and said, there is no evidence of Russian collusion. All 65 people said no. The same amount of repetition that they hammered the fake news into our heads.
I would just say that, Lee Smith wrote the book, The Plot Against the President, and if there's a security apparatus that sort of was able to shoehorn an agenda into all of the agencies via the press on Russiagate. And Russiagate was just a massive disruption for almost the whole presidency. So if we didn't document it, it wouldn't get documented, because, we didn't know who was going to win the election. So, and now we saw how it turned out. So,
yeah. So in terms of accountability, I mean, it's been so many years now, and it seems, President Trump is even out of office now, that there's seemingly no accountability for what has happened, right? I mean, the only person seemingly investigating it is John Durham, but as President Trump has recently come out on multiple occasions, he said, "Where's John Durham? What is he doing?" Can you guys speak a little bit to that, about the lack of accountability and anything that you might know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why these things keep happening, because people do what they can get away with. So because there was no accountability at all, I mean, I think at most, what's his name, the lawyer, was not put in jail for 2 months. He simply lost his law license for 2 months. It's of course they're going to continue doing it, and that's why we see them repeating this exact same blueprint all over the place. That's why they're doing what they're doing to Tucker Carlson. That's why they ran the op they ran on Matt Gaetz. That's why they are continuing to persecute the president, because nobody ever got in any kind of trouble. Again, and it's another reason why we appreciate outlets like yours telling the truth every day, and that we felt we had to make this movie and set the record straight. It's just the only accountability that it looks like we're going to get is in the court of public opinion.
The only security state type issue that has been flushed out of late is flying saucers. The New York Times would rather, talk to the deep state or the security state, whatever you want to call it, about flying saucers. And, Rubio came in with a report in the COVID bill, and now they have a proper report on flying saucers or UAPs. You're not going to see that happen with this very easily. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not getting my hopes up about anything that'll ever be done about what happened to our president.
I just remembered the one thing about Durham, though, so we've had a handful of screenings of The Plot Against the President recently, where we've had some of the people that are in it come and do Q&As, and Devin Nunes came and did one with us, and someone asked him this. They were like, what about Durham? What's going on? And the one thing that he said, and I listen, when he has an opinion, I put a lot of stock in that, and he said, well, the one thing I'll say that's been very promising about it is the fact that it's taken so long. He's like, if it was going to be a kind of a whitewash, it would have happened much more quickly. And the other thing is that there's been no leaks. There has not been a single leak out of the investigation. Now, that could be because it's not really doing very much, and there's not much to leak, and it's all, nothing really is going to come of it. Or maybe there's something is, and I don't work in the government anymore, but obviously if there was anybody that would have an opinion that I would be put a lot of weight in, it would be Devin Nunes's. So he has an interesting take on this. He doesn't have as dire of a lookout on it as I do.
Devin's a positive. He's a positive guy.